edit it later. But yeah. So this, I try to do a little blog here, and this, kind of keeps us up to date on the latest and greatest.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't chat with guys like you, so. Got my list of questions here, but I also have a little thing on your bio. Well, we'll forget it. So I'm here with.
I know my own bio.
Yeah, right. You can tell us about it. So I'm here with Gene Myers, and I just wanted to we're gonna have a little chat today about building a successful green business in the design build market. And you have obviously been a really successful leader in this city, built thousands of homes. You guys have won numerous green building awards, and for a lot of us young builders coming up the market, I appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat with us, and hope to just learn a little bit from you in the next few minutes here.
Well, happy to. Yeah, happy to. Thanks
so,
for the coffee.
Yeah, you bet, absolutely.
You can come anytime if you bring coffee.
All right, it might be my new job here if we hit another one of those recessions we were talking about.
Right.
So do you mind just kind of giving me a little background of how you got into the business, and what's your story kind of coming up through?
Well, I'm a civil engineer by training, and I have a big joke that I joined the Peace Corps right out of college to save the world. It must have worked because we're still here. So you're welcome.
All right, appreciate it.
Came back and worked in the consulting civil engineering field, and did a lot of lot development design, subdivision design, and entitlements. And it seems like, we were talking about the recession earlier, it seems like crisis tends to shape careers. And so I jumped over to the client side of that business, a major land developer down in Douglas County. And the savings and loan crisis hit. And we had lots and no builders. So I became a home builder out of self-defense.
Okay.
To try to get through those lots. And in the course of that, grew a business to about 300 houses a year. And then left to go on my own. And when I went on my own, we've had three names. Green Tree Homes, green before green was cool in 1992, and it was painful because we were maybe not in sync with the market as it existed in
ahead of your time, huh?
Yeah. And then in the early 2000s, in addition to the Green Tree brand, we started a new brand called Newtown Builders, and it was based on a desire to do a project up in Commerce City on the way to Brighton called Bell Creek. And Bell Creek had a really interesting mission. It was owned by Sam Gary, who has the Piton Foundation. And he had formed the Stapleton Foundation, and so it set some lofty green goals and sustainability goals for Stapleton. And he once told me, he said, I felt like a hypocrite with my own land if I didn't abide by the same things. So we came up with a list of things we hoped to accomplish, which was 50% of the housing at 80% of median income or less. Best efforts at transit, best efforts at access, a desire to build world-class daycare, and a desire to have a place for every latchkey kid in the community from age 0 up through middle school.
Latchkey, what is that?
So a latchkey kid is a kid who's home alone while parents work.
Oh, okay.
And so we didn't accomplish everything, but we did meet our affordability goals. We did build a world-class daycare that the Piton Foundation oversees to this day. We built a family center that was a rec center that was in the same building as daycare, and staffed that so for older kids, they could be in the gym with adult supervision.
Yeah.
Ultimately, plugged that building into a K through 8 charter school. And so from the standpoint of our social goals, it was a groundbreaking project. And in our industry, there are two big conferences, the International Builder Show and the Pacific Coast Builder Conference. And we call that PCBC. And PCBC has their top award is the Gold Nugget Award. And we won all kinds of awards, including the Gold Nugget Award for Bell Creek for maybe another great, I'm looking back, it was a great project. By the time the recession hit, we barely got out. But along the way, the Urban Land Institute listed the top 10 affordable communities in America, and Bell Creek was number 1.
Yeah.
So we were really proud of that. And you know, it's one of those projects where the developer almost died, but the homes are still there, kind of a neutron, like a neutron bomb. And I really believe that it will stand the test of time and be a great neighborhood going forward. So very proud of that. Anyway, Newtown Builders was the brand that we started for that. And then
And was that a partnership, or was that just your company at the time?
well, it's all complicated because every project kind of needs its own financing, may have different partners, and so Newtown Builders was actually set up to be the managing member of a partnership on that project.
Mhm.
It was between us, Gary Williams Real Estate, Sam Gary's company, Key Community Development Corporation, so a unit of Key Bank, and Bank One Community Development Corporation, so a unit of Bank One. And that's one of the lessons you learn. When I went out on my own in 1992, I really didn't have any idea how complicated and sometimes challenging capital formation and getting debt to do these projects.
So when you left on your own, were you, let's step back a little bit. You said you went from basically land to 300 homes. Sounds like almost your first project out the door.
It was a number of different projects, and what really grew that business, in the middle of the savings and loan crisis, the government set up a company called the Resolution Trust Corporation, RTC for short. And unlike the last recession, the objective of that was liquidate the land, market to market, get it out of the banks, and let's move on. And so we were able to buy land at really below replacement cost in the middle of that mess. And so we were able to acquire numerous projects and then ramp it up.
And did you have financial partners in that you?
Right. The actual owner of that company was an investor in Manhattan.
Yeah. So it seems like.
So he owned the land development company I worked for. So
Okay.
it was kind of an extension of that.
Yeah. So it seems like the home building and design portion of your business now is almost a, by necessity, like you said, kind of an afterflow of owning land and having to kind of build that, which is now.
It was an exit strategy. It really was an exit strategy. And I remember when my boss called me up and said, I think we should just go ahead and build houses on these. I said, I don't know, getting into home building's easy, getting out of it's not so easy. And but it ended up being a really good career move, and I look at things maybe differently than some. I look at being able to know the land development side of the business and the home building side of the business as sort of it's a three-dimensional land planning exercise. Very few land planners get to control the third dimension. Very few builders get to control the first two dimensions.
Right.
And so in Bell Creek, we were building outdoor rooms. We were really visualizing what the spaces would be there, and had a great designer, Arlo Braun, working on that with us. he educated me on Camillo Sitte's work from the 1800s in Austria, going around Europe and measuring the great spaces of Europe. And believe it or not, those principles were applied to modest little Bell Creek.
Yeah, that's great. So you kind of had to build then all aspects of a firm. Most people kind of start on the other end of building up kind of a design and a home building portion. Do you guys consider yourself still more of a development company or a design build
We've gravitated to much more of a builder model, and part of that is that through the recession, it just became very difficult to do land. We have a project where we purchased what I would call a super block within a master plan community. So the perimeter facilities and amenities were already built, and then we are just filling in blocks of, I think, around 80 townhomes in the Ridgegate development in Lone Tree.
Yep.
But other than that, we've been fortunate on this side of the recession to be able to buy finished lots and build houses on those. So we moved from this kind of developmental, three-dimensional developer to more of a builder. But we didn't do that like everyone else either. And we have kind of a running joke that there's the smart way, there's the easy way, and then there's our way. And it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but the implication there is that there's a right way and there's a better way, and it's not always the easiest, and a lot of people in the industry probably look at us and think we're crazy. But we did develop a focus as we moved into being just a builder in the middle of the recession. What is our distinctive value proposition? What is it about us, our product differentiation, that makes us different from everyone else? And really in those times you're thinking about survival. Why should the market allow you to exist in the middle of a difficult market? Well, my take was that it can't be to build commodity housing, just price per square foot housing, because we have plenty of builders who do that, and they do it well, and they meet an important market niche. But for a small independent going up against Wall Street builders, my take is that you must have really crisp product differentiation and a highly differentiated brand. And so we began to focus on energy efficiency. And once again, recessions tend to move your career. In the midst of the recession, builders were giving away discounts of up to $50,000 a house to move them. And we opted instead to provide standard solar on our houses. And candidly, we gave it away in the recession, but that was our incentive. So what's the point? Well, the point is that there was a segment, I believe, that there was demand for that. And if they wanted it, we were the only builder that would deliver it. So that's a highly differentiated market.
Yes, when I had created a niche.
Exactly. So we did that starting in about 2009. We started using Colorado beetle kill lumber to frame our houses. One more green step, Coloradans go to the mountains, they get a little bit sick to see what's happened to the forest. Making something good come from that is something our customers appreciate. And then we continue to push beyond Energy Star into just a much more efficient structure. The Department of Energy came out with a new program, and we became an early adopter of that program called the Zero Energy Ready Home Program. But probably the biggest thing that we did beginning in 2012, started looking hard at what's next on the energy front. And we had an opportunity because of a new lot configuration in Stapleton to start with a clean piece of paper on product development see how low can we go in
Yeah,
terms of energy
yeah.
usage. So by the spring of 2013, we actually introduced Denver's first. It's still the first in Colorado and in our region, as far as I know, production-built zero-energy homes.
Mhm.
And so here's the thing: you walk into one of our models, you fall in love with the model. Buying the home's an emotional decision. Oh, by the way, this one just happens to produce all the energy it will use over the period of a year. And so that really gave us a very strong product differentiation, because nobody is
Right.
doing that.
Right.
Um, and so then we carried on with that, and that's probably where we started really garnering the big national awards. So we got Green Builder of the Year one year, in I think 2014 maybe, from Green Building Magazine. Nationally, we got, so 2013, we got the National Grant Award for Innovation from the Department of Energy. And so we really celebrated. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
In 2014, we got it again. No one had ever won 2 in a row. And in 2015, we got it again. And it's funny, when we got the award in 13, I was teasing the guy that runs that program, a guy named Sam Rashkin, who started Energy Star for homes. I said, you know, Sam, you guys just gave us a grand award for our 2009 technology. Wait till you see what we've got now. So in 2014, we entered our Zen Home Zero Energy Now, is what that stands for,
Mhm.
and got that award. And then just last fall, we received their highest award for very energy efficient townhomes. And so, you know, my approach every year is that we can't promise that we'll keep getting these awards, but we're going to make it very difficult for them to give it to anybody
Yeah,
else. So we're proud of those accomplishments. And what I'm really proud of is our people. You know, I go to these conferences and some builder will be pounding his chest about building a zero energy demonstration house. Building a zero energy house for us is just another day at the office. We think all homes should be built like that.
So it sounds like in the beginning, you said that when you guys started putting solar on homes in the recession, you were almost giving those away, and kind of progressed through a few years now where you guys have basically, you know, become the leader in the market, you know, to doing these zero energy homes. Was there a turning point where that became from giving it away to what I hope now is it's become a financially profitable model? Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be here if it hadn't.
Right. So,
and it seems like that may have been a long-term investment to get there.
So Zen is where we really created zero energy as a profit center.
Mm-hmm.
And up until that time, we were making money on the base house. We had a series called Solera, still do. And that base house was very energy efficient, but the incremental cost to go to zero with that technology was about what we could sell it for.
Mm-hmm.
So we continued even up to last year selling that option at a break even. And again, you know, the houses were profitable, but that
right.
option was not. But with Zen, really through the efficiency of the structure and the design, we were able to bring that cost way down from like $35,000 to $15,000. And so that room gives us room for margin on that option.
Yeah. So the pieces that were making this home go from low energy to zero energy, what are some of the systems or technology that you guys are using now to do that everybody should be using?
Well, you first conserve. Mm-hmm. And so you've got to have a building envelope that is very efficient, and it's no trick. the trick is, how do you make it affordable? And so we've landed on a double 2x4 wall that's kind of our hallmark in the industry. It's 9.5 inches thick, so 2x4 wall, gap, 2x4 wall, offset studs.
Are you using
So we have no thermal bridging.
like a 10-inch sill plate and top plate, or are you doing a separate wall?
Doing separate walls.
Okay. So that
24 inches on center on the studs. Now, how do you do that? Well, the inner wall, we do advanced framing so that the floor joists exactly, the second floor exactly stack on the inner wall. And on the outer wall, the roof trusses exactly stack on the outer wall. So we basically cut the load in half of what a normal wall would be carrying. And that helps us pull lumber out of both walls through advanced framing to be able to afford to do it. We're using a blown fiberglass. We found that when we use blown cellulose in that volume, it settles, and you end up with a air gap across the top of the bay. So we've moved to a blown fiberglass that doesn't happen with. Better windows, not crazy windows, still builder windows, but about a U value of a 0.2-ish, a little over 0.2.
On the framing portion there that you were just talking about, you know, the precision of making sure that, you know, even a truss stacks onto a stud below and that carries down. It can be a difficult thing to, you know, just ask your layman framer to do. Are you guys using any advanced systems like ready cut framing or wall panels or modeling of this to make sure that these are manufactured before you go out there, or do you just have skilled framers or both? What's kind of your...
So on our single family,
preference?
like our Zen product, we just have a really great framer, and our people know what to look for. We just have done our first double 2x4 wall townhome project in Lone Tree. Those are coming out pre-cut. And then
Pre-cut is in like ready cut framing?
Right.
Okay.
And then we're just introducing a new affordable townhome series to meet Denver's affordable housing requirements for Stapleton. Be about 165 units, double wall, panelized. And so we are, you know, we've had mixed results from all these systems. We have a really good framer on one project and it's fine. We have a not so good framer on another and it's a train wreck, and you gotta go figure it out again.
Right.
Relearn it, retrain.
I'm glad the big guys and not even us are the only ones saying that.
We've had issues on panels where the up front, one of the reasons we opted for panelization is because we have 165 units to build.
Right.
There's a
Can't
heavy
get a better-
upfront investment. The first set of panels will come out wrong. You gotta go fix them. The second set of panels might be closer, but still. But then once you get them, our belief is that if you have enough running room left on the project to pay for that upfront pain, that panels can make sense. So we did it years ago. We're back to it. We have a tremendous labor shortage in our market. I think that's an answer to that.
Yeah, we've tried to do just about all of them. Sit panels, panelization. We're trying ready cut right now. We've got a duplex that's going up with that. You know, and I originally kind of was chatting with you, reached out to you guys about, you know, we're looking at trying to come up with more efficient ways to, you know, build high quality, but cut the time frame down, and, you know, and then keep the costs either the same or better if we can. And, you know, from a, you know, production standpoint, is there some tricks that really work? You know, we've tried, you know, and had some success on panelization. It's hard, you know, because we're mainly doing urban infill projects, and so it's one-off plus it's tight lots. It is really, really tough. So we're now looking at the ready cut. We've got one that's just coming up to do that. But wasn't sure if we should throw in the hat or
Well,
keep pushing
my
on
take
this.
on this is that everyone is struggling with it right now. I don't think anybody has it totally nailed. We're just dealing in a labor environment that's unprecedented. We're doing our best to
Do you
do
guys
all
have
the things you're
dedicated,
talking about.
at your scale, is your framers kind of dedicated to you guys, or are you still kind of pulling and pushing?
We're a small player, and
Okay.
so these framing companies are working for the big guys and
Yeah.
for us and for even for little guys, I guess. So we have to compete for our labor. We have some good long-term relationships, but even some of those are, you know, in all trades, are sort of fraying around the edges right now, where, you know, you're killing us on schedule. You know, the quality of your actual people on the site isn't getting the job done to our standards. And I think we're just gonna live with this for a while because, you know, my hope is that the demand continues. And my
Labor will
basis,
catch up, hopefully.
my basis for that hope is that we just haven't burned off the pent-up demand from the recession yet. And I think that as time goes by, maybe we will get some normalization out of the labor force. I had a theory that I read a study on that said it was totally wrong, but I really had a theory that a lot of our labor force went to the oil patch and that it would be coming back. And apparently the Department of Labor can track that. And they showed from their data that that really didn't happen. And so I don't know where they're coming back to, but I hope they come back. I hope they come back, and I hope that construction labor force is available to us.
So how do you guys, how are you guys maintaining quality? What are some of the systems that you're using in terms of scheduling, and what's your management team look like in terms of superintendents and checklists for quality assurance? I mean, what are some of the things to do to, you know, help battle this and improve the quality of the lack of labor that we're dealing with?
Again, all the above. So we start with our Vice President of Operations. He oversees purchasing, customer service, and construction. Then we have 2 area managers, one for townhomes, one for single family, that then oversee superintendents on each site. Depending on the volume of the site, it may be 1 superintendent. If it's pretty high volume, we'd have at least 2, sometimes 3. And the way we tend to break that up is a front-end super, somebody who's setting the foundation, making sure the building is set right, overseeing framing all the way through rough inspections. Hand off then to a back-end super who's really from drywall on and focused on finishes and coordination with the customer. We have a centralized scheduling system that everybody in the company uses so we can try to keep track of things. I think we have
What software do you guys use?
I think we kind of put it together.
Okay.
It talks to our integrated accounting and sales and job cost software called BRIX, B-R-I-X. We have quality assurance checklists. We do I think pretty sophisticated for the industry, customer surveys to really get the feedback on how are we doing.
So when you first got started, how did you start to develop some of this?
You get people that can bring those skills because I couldn't do it.
Okay.
And you know, one of my goals is to someday be the dumbest person in the room and have really great people all around me that are solving problems like this. But it really is incremental with each hire. at some point you decide, well, we just can't have supers, they need supervision, and then, well, we have too many of those for one person, we need area managers, and you just sort of build it incrementally. I think at this moment, we have 125 houses under construction. And, that's an equivalent somewhere between 40 and $50 million of volume. And we're a small company, but those are big numbers.
Yeah.
This is a very low margin business. 1% can really hurt you, and it's really easy to make a 1% mistake. There are a lot of moving parts, and I've often said that what we do isn't rocket science, but execution is really tough. And part of it is our business model. We don't really directly control the labor that builds our houses. Our houses are built by our subcontractors, who are overseen by our supers. So if you were a manufacturer, a traditional manufacturer, that's what we are. We're a manufacturing and a marketing company, and a design company. But usually you have a factory and those guys work for you.
Right.
And you have a lot of ability to trace back systematic errors and correct those in the process so they don't happen again. We're in this difficult mode of hunting for random errors.
And reteaching the different labor each time.
And
this is how we do it.
And it's really hard to get it right. We do well with most of our customers, the vast majority, but there are just some houses that we just have things go wrong. And
I noticed you guys have an incredible warranty program posted right up on your website.
Yep.
Is that something that has developed out of necessity, or is it just proactive?
Well, it's definitely necessary, but it's proactive. And part of it is, first off, we want to back our products for our customers. It's a huge purchase. They deserve to get the house we told them we were going to build. And it needs to be of a high quality. There's enlightened self-interest in that. In our world, construction defect litigation is a very real risk. My take is that the best defense is a good offense. Let's try to build a defect-free house. It's really challenging with the hundreds of thousands of parts maybe that go into a house, installed by 30 different subcontractors with labor forces of 5 to 10 people on each project, let alone all the support people. It's a big undertaking.
Yeah. And what I find, I find it really difficult on that back end portion, when something goes wrong, pull out the checkbook and, right to have it repaired. And, at least in our labor pool, it's almost impossible to go back and, track it back to the electrician that, did the wiring wrong.
That's correct.
So usually that, ends up coming out of our pocket.
Are
you guys able to control that with contracts, or?
At the end of the day, the customer bought the house from you.
Yeah.
And so you're the first line of defense, we're the first line of defense. We have a saying in our company, always do the right thing. So if we're putting ourselves in our customer's shoes and say, would I be happy with that? Then we have to get it fixed. In some cases, we can, during the warranty period, call in the original sub that did the work, because hopefully they're continuing on working for us on other projects. But in some cases, it's true. There's no way to really track it all back, and we just have to be prepared to step up and do the right thing.
What do you guys plan on in terms of warranty costs going back into home? You put some.
We do a 1.5% warranty reserve.
You just reserve that and get ready for it. It's really wise. We'll,
You have to do it.
yeah, be doing that. I think I probably burned enough your time,
Well,
Gene.
it's great. I
I
enjoyed it,
really
Steve.
enjoyed chatting with you.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Hopefully we can stay in touch.
It's a pleasure. You bet.
Um,
Well, good luck to you out there.
Yeah, I
It's
appreciate
a crazy career that you're in. It's a little bit addictive.
it's fun, right?
It's a creative process for people that thrive on change. I think it's appealing because it seems like no 2 days are alike. It's a pursuit that matters. People's homes are very important to their lives. We want to see them do well in our homes. We want to see them do well when they sell our homes. But beyond all of that, it's a more or less permanent mark on the landscape.
Yeah.
What we leave behind, good or bad, will be there a long time. And so we take this pursuit very seriously, that we have a responsibility to the people who buy our homes, that we have a responsibility to our neighborhoods where we build to make sure that what we leave behind is actually an asset to the community. And so I think that's what keeps us going through the hard times, is that it's an inherently important thing. We're not selling pet rocks at Christmas. This is not a spur of the moment purchase. This is something people save up for years to get to a down payment, and then doggone it better be a good house.
Yeah.
So we approach it that way. We're not perfect. We make mistakes every day. It's really where our fundamental value, when the going gets tough, always do the right thing. And that's, I guess if I were gonna, you started this off saying advice for young
young design
people.
builders. What would you leave one thing for us going
Always do the
forward?
right thing. Always do the right thing.
I think that's a good note to leave on.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Great, Steve.
All right.
All righty. Well, I hope